Governor Ron DeSantis is here. We're going to ask the governor if he would come now and bring remarks.
Well, thank you for doing this. I want to just say to the councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help, one, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
Okay, listen, y'all. Let me tell you, we finna put parties aside, cause it ain't about parties today.
It is about parties, okay? Ron DeSantis, all right, is working with Dennis Prager to make sure Florida schools get a revised version of history saying that black slaves benefited from slavery. They learned trades, they learned skills. All right. So Ron DeSantis being there doesn't help the situation. Ron DeSantis is for white supremacy. Him being there doesn't help the situation.
A bullet don't know a party, so don't get me started. Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ann is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts. Because
of course you're taking the gifts. You're not taking tangibles. Would you ask for a hate crime bill? Just like Asians have a hate crime bill, would you ask for that? And will you ask for that? It's like I'm watching slavery before my eyes here. Okay? When the people are right, when black folks are right to reject Ron DeSantis or a politician or a governor or any public official that is known to stand for white supremacy, they'll get their black shield to help them.
Because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now, y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the...
Be quiet. Let the massa talk.
Let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me? Okay, let's do it.
I thought this wasn't about parties. So this is a party now. This is just a political engagement now. What about a hate crime bill for blacks when they are killed by white supremacists? What about that?
So we have already identified funds from the state of Florida. I've been in touch with Dr. Faison. We're going to be announcing some stuff tomorrow morning, which I think will help not only with security, but also an attempt to help these families. The fact of the matter is, you had a major league scumbag come from Clay County up here, and what he did is totally unacceptable in the state of Florida. We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race. We are going to stand up.
Why don't you say we're not going to tolerate white supremacy killing black people, as we won't tolerate white supremacy killing Asians or any other ethnic group? Say that. The Asians worked and they got an anti-hate bill for them. Okay, a hate crime bill for them. But you don't have that for blacks. His state has neo-Nazis, okay, proudly marching. Black Americans in Florida need to do better.
And we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that evil does not triumph in the state of Florida. And that means we are going to work with Edward Waters so that they have whatever security they need. In Florida, we've already given a lot of money to Jewish day schools because they've been targeted with anti-Semitism. Well, let me tell you this. You are not going to target HBCUs in the state of Florida and get away with it. We're going to hold you accountable. We're not going to let it happen.
It's hard to trust him when I just said before he's trying to revise history, American history, pertaining to the slavery of African Americans in this country. People just clapping, but you're not asking any serious questions here. Ann got you to shut up. That was her job. Okay. Ann is the same as that political speaker for Joe Biden in the White House. Okay. That was her job, and she did it. Look at him. Just like trained SEALs. He says the right things, and they're just reacting like a bunch of trained SEALs. You wonder why African Americans will never get reparations. Jacksonville, Florida, Associated Press, hundreds of people gathered Sunday at prayer vigils and in church in frustration and exhaustion to mourn yet another racist attack in America. This one, the killing of 3 black people in Florida at the hands of a white 21-year-old man who authorities have say left behind white supremacist ramblings that read like the diary of a madman. Following services earlier in the day, about 200 people showed up at a Sunday evening vigil a block from the Dollar General store in Jacksonville, where officials said Ryan Palmiter opened fire Saturday using guns he bought legally despite a past involuntary commitment for a mental health exam. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, who is running for the GOP nomination for president, who has loosened gun laws in Florida and who has antagonized civil rights leaders by deriding wokeness, was loudly booed as as he addressed the visual. Yes, he has loosened gun laws. Okay? You don't need semi-automatics. Okay? Have a shotgun. You have a handgun. That's what you want. That's what you should have. But to have weapons of, weapons that are military grade, that doesn't belong in the hands of a civilian. Okay? No, I am not talking about you don't have the right to defend your home. I'm not saying that. You got extremists on both sides of the aisle, the Republicans and the Democrats. You say something that's moderate, and all of a sudden they get antsy. Oh, you mean we shouldn't be able to defend our homes and defend ourselves? No. So normal civilian having access to military grade weapons is a no-no, unless you've been in the military. Jacoby Pittman, a Jacksonville City Councilwoman who represents the neighborhood where the shooting had happened, stepped in to ask the crowd to listen. It ain't about parties today, she said. A bullet don't know a party. DeSantis said that on Monday, the state would be announcing a financial support for security at Edward Waters University, the historically black college near where the shooting occurred, and to help the affected families. He called the gunman a major league scumbag. What he did is totally unacceptable in the state of Florida, DeSantis said. We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race. Sheriff T.K. Waters identified those killed as Angela Michelle Carr, 52, who was shot in her car. Store employee A.J. Laguerre, 19, who was shot as he tried to flee. And customer Gerald Golan, 29, who was shot as he entered the store in a predominantly black neighborhood. Gallion attended St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church in Jacksonville. Bishop John Guns told the crowd he was the 33rd murdered victim in the 27 years Guns has been there. He said, in 2 weeks, I have to preach to a funeral of a man who should still be alive, Guns said. He was not a gangster. He was not a thug. He was a father who gave his life to Jesus and was trying to get it together. I wept in church today like a baby because my heart is tired. We are exhausted. The latest in a long history of American racist killings unfolded earlier Saturday afternoon after Palmiter first parked at Edward Waters University. The sheriff said a video posted on TikTok with no timestamp showed Palmiter donning a bullet-resistant vest. A university security guard spotted Palmiter and parked near him. Palmiter drove off, and the security guard flagged down a Jacksonville sheriff officer who was about to send out an alert to the other officers when the shooting began at the store. Palmito used an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle and a Glock handgun in the shooting, Waters said. He had legally purchased the guns in recent months, even though he had been involuntarily committed for a mental health examination in 2017. Because Palmito was released after the examination, that would have not shown up on his background checks. Palmito killed himself as police arrived about 11 minutes after the shooting began. Palmito lived with his parents in a neighboring Clay County. He texted his father during the shooting and told him to break into his room. Waters said the father then found a suicide note, a will, and the racist writings Waters described as, quite frankly, the diary of a madman. He was just completely irrational, Waters said. But with irrational thoughts, he knew what he was doing. He was 100% lucid. The sheriff said Palmito, wearing his vest covered by a shirt, gloves, and mask, first stopped in front of Carr's vehicle and fired 11 shots with his rifle through her windshield, killing her. He entered the store, turned to his right, shooting Laguerre, video shows. Numerous people fled through the back door, the sheriff said. He chased after them and fired, but missed. He went back inside the store, and found Gallion entering the front door with his girlfriend. He fatally shot Gallion. He then chased a woman through the store and fired, but missed. We must say clearly and forcefully that white supremacy has no place in America, President Joe Biden said in a statement Sunday. We must refuse to live in a country where black families going to the store or black students going to school live in fear of being gunned down because of the color of their skin. Biden spoke to Jacksonville Mayor Donna Deegan in the wake of Saturday's horrific shooting. The president also spoke with Sheriff Waters. In both calls, he offered his full support to the people of Jacksonville, according to a statement Sunday evening from the White House. Earlier Sunday, the pastor of St. Paul AME Church near the site of the shooting told congregants to follow Jesus Christ's example and keep their sadness from turning into rage. Mayor Deegan wept during the service. Our hearts are broken. The Reverend Willie Barnes told about 100 congregants, if any of you are like me, I'm fighting to try not to be angry. Elected officials said racist attacks like Saturday's have been encouraged by political rhetoric targeting wokeness and policies from the Republican-led state government headed by DeSantis, including one taking aim at the teaching of Black history in Florida. We must be clear, it was not racially motivated. It was racist violence that has been perpetrated by rhetoric and policies designed to attack Black people, period, said State Representative Angie Nixon, a Jacksonville Democrat. Let's read that again, okay? Elected officials said racist attacks like Saturday's have been encouraged by political rhetoric targeting wokeness and policies from the Republican-led state government headed by DeSantis, including one taking aim at the teaching of the Black history in Florida. Like I said, once again, DeSantis wants to rewrite history and make it, with the help of Dennis Prager, to say that Black slaves had it good during slavery. Okay, so Ron DeSantis has to take some blame for this. We must be clear, it was not just racially motivated, it was racist violence that has been perpetrated by the rhetoric and policies designed to attack Black people, period, said State Representative Angie Nixon, a Jacksonville Democrat. And also the Democratic Party also has to take account for that too, because the Democrats want Blacks to be perpetual victims and wants to put in the minds of whites that Blacks are helpless victims, and if they commit crimes, they shouldn't go to jail, which will inflame whites who are decent people, okay, and don't know any better, and push them into the arms of white supremacists. If you want to know more about the scumbag tactics of the Democratic Party, look into Manning Johnson, Racism, Communism, and Common Sense. That's all I got to say for now. All right. I'm on Spotify, Hard Talk Radio live in 4K, Rumble, Radical Thoughts 791. Anything you want to know about this channel is in the description box. Later.